that we are seeing. One of those expenses is because of the vast amount of infrastructure that city has and has to be maintained. So we project those expenses will increase in year 3. Another item, as you'll see when you go through the report, we did find some discrepancies in some of the water and sewer accounts, and we outlined each of those discrepancies in the report, so those can be corrected. Another thing that we showed when looking at the rates is that there are several rate structures as it relates to large volume users, small volume users that are skewed. They're out of weight based on industry standards. So we have provided some alternatives in order to rectify that. The main goal essentially as it relates to water and revenue is that the rate structure, that if you will, that uses a percentage of water, their expenses should also be about the same. Revenues bring in, so percentage of water used, percent of revenue generated should be aligned. You have a couple of structures, rate structures that are not in line, so that needs to be adjusted also. With that being said, we have provided 4 different alternatives for the city to consider as it relates to these different rate structures and recommendations. And essentially the 4 different rate structures, when you go through the report, are 1, to decrease the amount of transfers, thank you, from the water and sewer fund to the general fund. That's one alternative that you get to try to track those expenses and give them year 3. The next alternate is to revise your existing structure, keep in line with AWWA standards and regulations.
Fletcher, I'm going to say go to your second page of where you are. That's the first page. You'll see at the top where it says alternative to new rate structure. And this is showing you the inside rates, the outside rates for water and sewer.
As they are now.
Well, the first page is what they are now.
Okay.
And then alternate 3 would be these skewed class range that I talked about that has these high volumes but less expenses to increase those high volume users. That would be alternate 3. Then alternate 4 would be to keep your rates just as they are and then apply a 3% rate increase across the board to all of your rates. So those are the 4 alternatives that are showing within the study in order to ensure that the city's water and sewer fund is solvent after year 3, to ensure that the city is able to provide safe and potable drinking water to the residents of the city of Demorest as well as Habersham County, and also provide ample fire protection where needed.
Can you give like a quick summary of where the changes are in the basis here?
Because the first one is saying we're keeping everything the same. We're just making sure, because in our budget for 26, I've got a $200,000 less transfer in there. That's number 1. Rates wouldn't be changed under that scenario. Scenario number 2 is you're going to restructure your base rates to the AWWA formulas, and your cost is going to be based upon your meter size, and the biggest impact is going to be to your high-end users. That's who that's going to affect on one like that, and that's where he was saying there's inequities, because right now it's kind of spread across the board. You may not be a big user, so you're just using your 2,000 gallons a month. That being said, you're paying for water in the city, you're paying $23.36.
Right.
But somebody else then that's got the tiered rating after that, from 2001 up to 5,000, will add another $7.50 on it. Somebody using between 5 and 10,000 gallons is going to pay another $8.26. And somebody using above 10,000 in residential is going to be paying basically about $35. So less use costs you less. And we have some complaints from people because they may live by themselves and they never hit that 2,000 gallons. So they don't like paying for 1,500 gallons. That means they got charged for 500. They didn't use it. But that's where the rate structures come in with the different tiers.
So this is gonna be little to no impact for those people who have
Little
little
usage.
usage and greater impact for those.
And that's with number 2.
That's what
That's correct, yeah. Alternate 2 and alternate 3 will essentially not affect your average residential user. The little to no impact. Alternate 2 will have no impact. Alternate 3 will have very little impact. Alternate 4, which is a 3% across the board, there's going to be increased value.
And then, like you said, alternate 4, that's where you're saying we want to increase between 3 and 5% for the next 5 years. And that's across the board, so everybody's paid that. But again, you give the example with Georgia Power or somebody with a high-end use.
Yeah, so the theory and the reasoning behind AWWA standards and with power utilities is that we have to have infrastructure in place to provide large amounts of power or large parts of water. A water distribution system or a user that's using large volumes of water, your water line has to be larger. Your booster pump stations have to have larger pumps, and your water storage tanks have to be larger tanks. So there's more expense to provide water for these large users that are using them on a regular basis. So that's why AWWA standards implements this cost of service rate structure, which is what alternate 2 is based on. The current rate structure does not take that into consideration. So a lot of those high volume users are not paying the percentage that they should be as relates to the lower ones.
You will see in the charts when we meet.
So, would y'all forgive me, Councilman Fletcher, would y'all forgive me, can we change something and pause this conversation for 1 second and modify our agenda? Okay. I'd like to modify the agenda. We have something special for the the Demorest Elementary School. Donnie, would you like to read the proclamation that we have prepared for Demorest Elementary?
I would not, but I will. This brings back horror, memories. I went to elementary school in here. Donnie, stand up and read this. What? Or Donnie, do a math problem at the board. Even worse. Sorry, Larry. Okay, this is Miss Jones, and she is the principal of Demorest Elementary School, and that's Miss Bennett sitting next to her. She works at Demorest Elementary School. Proud to be there. And this is going to be Demorest has been in the new building. That's right. I'm old enough to call it the new building for 25 years, right? And we wanted to hold them up a little bit because of all the great things that Demorest Elementary does for our community. And for those of you that went through Demorest Elementary, went to schools in Habersham, Demorest is a quality school, always has been, and we would like to definitely recognize y'all for that. Okay, it just seems like Demorest just gets better. And better. And I love the fact that the school in my town, that I went to elementary school at, right, is doing so well. We used to have our own football team. We used to have our own teams. Instead of Park and Rec, you were a Demorest lineman when you went to school here. And you played as a Demorest lineman. And how cool is that? Who does that anymore? Nobody. Okay, nobody. But it's super duper cool. So, the City of Demorest proclamation, and this is lawyer talk. That makes it even worse. If it was like a book, I could read. Okay, I'm trying. All right, whereas Demorest Elementary School, located at 3116 Demorest Mount Airy Highway, has served as a cornerstone of education and community spirit in Demorest, Georgia, since its founding in 2000, the new building. And whereas for 25 years, Demorest Elementary has provided a nurturing and inspiring environment for generations of students, fostering academic excellence, creativity, and character development. And whereas the dedicated administrators, faculty, and staff of Demorest Elementary have consistently played a vital role in shaping the lives of thousands of children and families by contributing to the strength and unity of the Demorest community. Whereas the 25th anniversary of Demorest Elementary School and its momentous occasion, that deserves recognition and celebration. Now, therefore, I, Jerry Harkness, not I, Jerry Harkness, I, Donnie Bennett, he, Jerry Harkness. Okay, Mayor of the City of Demorest and the Demorest City Council hereby proclaim December the 2nd, 2025 as Demorest Elementary School's 25th anniversary day in the City of Demorest, and encourage all of the citizens to join in honoring the school's legacy, celebrating its achievements, and supporting its continued success in the years to come. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Demorest to be affixed to this 2nd of December 2025, presented this second day of December. Jerry?
Thank you, sir. So we're excited to give this proclamation to the city, or to the school, and we will have a framed copy with a seal for y'all at the Christmas tree lighting. The Christmas tree lighting is on Thursday, and I believe y'all are joining us with your choir, right?
Yes, yes.
So that's a proud moment, so I hope everybody comes out Thursday night at 6:30 to see your choir at the Christmas tree lighting, and we'll have a copy for you there.
And the reason we had to interject, and I apologize for this, but there is a chorus concert tonight that our Demorest Lions will be participating in. And so these ladies have to get on down the road. So, Miss Lana Jones, if you'll stand up, I would love for us to give you a Lions round of applause. And everything you've done.
Hey, can you come up? Let's get your picture with everybody. Guys, y'all stand up.
Just stay there in the center,
Right?
please.
I'm gonna have to get some boots or something.
Stand on your tiptoes.
Stand over, squeeze it.
Yes, yes.
I'll just stay over there beside your husband.
Three, two, one.
I'm gonna go on mine.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's one copy. We'll have another copy for you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I do want to say, I do appreciate the partnership with the City of Demorest. Y'all have provided us with a wonderful SRO, and that has tremendously impacted our school culture and the expectations, our community of our school, and so we greatly appreciate that and look forward to continuing that.
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Donnie. Nice job.
Yeah, good job, Donnie.
Let me tell you, that went worse in the 4th grade.
Fletcher, thanks for allowing us to.
Yeah.
So I think you had something really sharp you were bringing up.
Well, I was just following up on the conversation with the different rate structures and how they impact the different usages as it relates to the amount of water that's being used, particularly to an average residential customer or a high-end user. And that's really the difference that you'll see whether you look at alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3, or alternate 4.
And the other part you will see in some other charts that Fletcher's working on is our largest users with each one of the different rate options, what it does to them. So, some can go up, or some of them number 2. Number 3 can have them go down. And number 4, it's kind of like only a 3 to 5% that going across the board, but 2 and 3 is what's going to have the biggest impact on our high-end users. And it will all be spelled out very easily.
So 4 is a 3% increase every year.
In number 4.
And number 4,
Yes,
3 is just an increase to both the commercial and institutional.
that's correct.
I mean, 3 still has a 93-cent increase on the base charge. So
Yeah.
there is
A little
Yeah.
increase.
But then it's going to be substantial.
Sure.
And again, the part of it on number 4 is we'll need to make sure that we're exceeding about 5% in our revenues each year.
Right.
Then you have that, because it's a much smaller number to increase from when we're having that. So, it's an excellent report that Fletcher has done. There is a ton of numbers.
Oh, yeah.
You may not enjoy numbers, but Fletcher's engineer.
They're great.
She loves spreadsheets, and so when we meet, it's gonna make a lot more sense to you, especially after you understand the 4 options.
Perfect. Thanks for taking the time to do that.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming tonight.
Question,
Sorry.
when we do this 2-on meeting, will you bring those numbers of those repairs you're suggesting as well?
The capital improvement list, what you
Yes.
talking about?
Yes, sir.
You mind bringing that?
Because I've got those factored in, Andrew,
Right.
into our budget for this year,
Right.
it's lost in different things.
Yeah, I just kind of want to be reminded of them.
We've started doing that already.
Okay, good.
We've already started that with some of the pumps that are in that $15,000 to $25,000 range
Okay.
on that, so we're started. Because what I have MPE and EMI do, when they invoice us, they give me an invoice highlighted that says, this is part of your capital improvements plan.
Nice.
So that gives me the authority to say, oh, we're taking that right here,
Yes.
especially take that from SPOS.
Good deal.
So,
Good deal.
I know no one likes increases, but unfortunately, we're getting increases across the board from our suppliers, from power and everything, so we need to be mindful of that, so we don't have to take a large increase at once.
and with that, you know, the need, we haven't necessarily done maintenance over the last so many years. We've got to step up and start doing that.
Right.
So that's where that cash and that cash flow comes into play, and it's so vital.
Right.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. All right, next is first read of the home rule amendments to the charter. Thomas, do you want to read these?
Yeah, sure. There's 4 that are proposed, and the reason there's 4 of them rather than, them being combined in one, is they all deal with different topics in the charter. The first one in your packet is, these are not in order in the charter, but the first one that's in your packet is section 2.29, powers and duties of the mayor. The current subsection B of that provision talks about the mayor appointing a council member with regard to each of the city's departments. I'm recommending that you amend that to basically to put into the charter what is, I understand to be the practice, has been even since before the time I was here, that the mayor appoints a council member, mayor pro tem, and that a council member who is authorized to sign checks, and that there's no longer a council member that's appointed to oversee the departments. And my reasoning for that, and it's up to you all whether to adopt that, but what I've seen pretty much from the first couple months I was here is that there are times when that begins to impinge upon the county manager form of government that you all have, or council members. And then obviously you all are entitled to make inquiries, certainly have contact with employees. But when council members get involved in day-to-day operations, that impinges on what your charter says is your form of government, and that has created a good deal of conflict over the last 4 or 5 years. And I don't know much about, I don't know anything about the history of that prior to my time here, but in my experience, hence that recommendation change. The second one is in the,
I have a question.
sure.
So why do we have to have the mayor appoint someone to sign checks? In the past, it's always been council. Council elect one of their own to do that. So, I mean, do we have to do that?
You don't have to, you don't have to.
The concern I have with that is that, I mean, we've got the mayor as a check signer.
Right.
So then you've got, if we do this, then you've got a check signer appointing another check signer. So it's kind of, it takes away the power of the council.
And so there's, I mean, there's nothing certainly nothing required to do that. The problem is that because the mayor is the one authorized to sign checks, that perhaps he's gonna be the one that identifies who that person is. But certainly if that's something the council's concerned about, that
I mean,
part of that can be removed.
that's a fair point. Could we revise it to say, could we revise it to say that the seat of the mayor could nominate the check signer and then vote it on by council? Okay.
I can move that.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
The other thing you were just talking about, what you said would effectively take power away from the council, and everything goes to the city manager? Is that what I heard you say?
No, that's not what you heard me say. What you heard me say was that the city manager form of government is such that the city manager is responsible for the day-to-day operations and supervising the employees.
Right.
And that what I've seen over the last 4 years is that sometimes the council member that has been appointed to essentially supposed to be a liaison with the various departments,
Right.
has tried to direct day-to-day operations of those departments or get involved in day-to-day operations, and that violates the form of government. I wasn't suggesting at all that should take away the power of council. The council certainly has the authority to make inquiries, request information, and that type of thing.
From any department.
Yeah. The next one in your packet is 6.25 contracting procedures. As it stands now, your contracting basically requires that the city attorney draw and approve contracts, and the charter, for whatever reason, doesn't have any provision for authorization by city council. I think as a practical matter, most contract matters do come before you all, but most charters actually have that as a provision of the charter, and it can actually be important. I've had some situations where cities entered into contracts, either the city manager or, and not this city, other cities I've represented, city manager or mayor had signed a contract that had not even been seen by council, and we managed to get those contracts canceled by pointing to the charter provision that says it had to be approved by council, and it was not. So I think
So this is a complete addition to the charter.
that is a complete addition, doesn't change anything else about contracting procedures. The next one is section 1.14. This is that one, it's a little odd when you read it, the powers relating to sale or lease of property. It's got about 5 or 6 different provisions in it, all of which almost are lifted from state statute on the sale and disposition of real estate, but it doesn't incorporate all of them. You're bound by state law with regard to those things anyway, so what I have suggested is change subsection A to simply read, sale or lease of property of the city shall be as provided in this charter or general state law. And so everything that I've recommended be taken out of that provision is provided for in that state statute. So it doesn't really, as a practical matter, it doesn't change how you do things, it's just nod to state law rather than your charter. Then I've left in that provision, that's the final provision of that particular section of the charter about the value that you have to accept unless you approve otherwise, that it has to be at least 1/2 the assessed value of real property that you sell property. The final one is, and this one again is purely within one that I've recommended before. I think we actually talked about this from last year. The amendment would replace section 2.22B of the charter, but what the change in this language versus within the charter now would allow you all to approve an ordinance on the first night it's introduced. In other words, to eliminate the two, you hear us talk about the 2-week requirement. This would allow, again, the way that it's drafted, there's some restrictions. Everybody's gotta be here, and everybody's gotta agree to it. So if the mayor, or any one of the 4 of you says, I don't wanna approve this tonight, it automatically becomes a first read like we normally do, and then you all vote on it at the second. So, I'd suggest you do it. Again, it's up to you.
That'll cut down on some of our costs on things that we all agree on.
Exactly. And the time and all that kind of stuff. And there's real no downside or risk because each of the 5 of you still have it within your absolute discretion to say, I think we need to set this. So those are the 4 proposed home rule amendments. We've got to do the first reading of those tonight. Megan, we've got to run ads for 3 weeks, and then you have to vote on them at the January meeting. They've got to be done at 2 consecutive regular meetings.
Okay.
I do have questions about something we have talked about changing in the charter before. I mean, we certainly could get to a circumstance where we have a quorum present, but a non-voting quorum present. And in that case, that's a waste of the meeting. So we have no provisions for either, if 2 people are gone, for the mayor or the acting mayor to vote in that circumstance. I took a trip with Andrew recently, and during the entire time I was thinking, well, if I crashed and we both died.
Well, I don't know why you were thinking that. I was riding.
Then, that could pose problems for everybody else behind on that.
So the other problem we have in that regard is the requirement in the charter that you need 3 affirmative votes to do anything.
Right, yes.
And actually ran into that problem in Houston, and I had to go to court and get an order from Judge Booth to suspend that provision of our charter until the city of Houston could have a special called election.
Really?
This was years ago. This was back
I mean, is there anything that we could do to change, to put something, a safeguard for continuity of government at least?
You can, there are, most of the new charters, and the model charter that GMA has addresses that by basically saying that the existing number of elected officials constitutes a quorum, and the majority of those can act on behalf of the city. What I don't know is whether that affects the form of government, such that would have to go through the legislature. I will research that question, and if it's something that can be done by home rule, if you all want to have that for first reading at the January meeting, that should be adopted in February.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's fine if we have to go through the legislature to do that. I mean, I think it's important to have at least some kind of continuity of government in case something happens to, 2 of us at the same time.
Well, and I can tell you from my
And his team lost on that, so.
it was a problem about that.
No reason to.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to avoid.
Very good.
All right. Any other questions? All right, next is discussion of the temporary special event license. This is the second reading to this.
So this looks a little different than what y'all did last month. Let me walk through what's there. And what's in your materials. The first part of this, what is section 6.19, is basically what we looked at last month with one of the change that I made the change that I proposed. You don't have to leave it that way. But in subsection A, it says temporary license may be issued for a period not to exceed 12 days in any 1 year. That was what it said 5 days, and as I said in a note, you all saw on the one that draft we looked at. It was really intended for kind of a one-time festival during the year, whereas this allows 12 days in any year. So if you've got a situation where someone wants to do 1 night or 2 nights, they just can't do it more than 12 days. So if it's a 2-day event, they can do one every 2 months. it's just one day, they can do one a month.
For one permit.
One permit. The second section.
Let me ask you this, where did that number 12 come from? Okay, so it's just a self-appointed number. If you want a different number,
One different number.
you could install the number. Sorry, I'm just curious.
The new section, 6-19.1, this is the one that will address what I'll call the Piedmont issue. Because Piedmont's a nonprofit, the state has certain requirements for nonprofits to be able to serve alcohol, or to sell alcohol. This would allow Piedmont or any other nonprofit to get the paperwork from the city that it would need to go to the state if they give us a temporary permit. There is a limit by the state as to how many times a nonprofit can do that each year, and it's 6 times a year. But this.
It's good, but takes a decision away from us on that.
It does.
And that number is in here. What does it say, 12?
They would only be, nonprofits would only get the state,
6
6
times.
times a year.
But they could do 12 with us, so do those numbers need to match?
You can make it match what this provision was based on what's in the Five Counties ordinance. It was the closest one and the simplest procedure that I could find, so I basically just authorized the Five Counties.
And this could be somebody wanting to set up a food booth or something too, it's not.
So that's,
Very good. Any questions? All right, next is discussion of local emergency operation plan and resolution.
Here, church, you know what this is in this book? This right here is the Habersham County emergency plan. Everybody see how thick that is? So, a lot of things in this book that comes from what that man used to do. And they're still updating. Is it every year or every 2 years? Okay. Then what we have right here is, if you look in your tab there, is the explanation from Melanie. And so you're welcome to read those right there that says what it's going to be, what we're doing. Melanie is the contact if there's a state emergency. There's a state emergency in each county. So that's who the state's going to talk to. And then she is going to spread the news to the rest of us, to the other cities and the county. And so we have to approve this section here of 3 pages. And to say this is what Demorest's role is. And we have to do this each year. And this was approved back in November by the county. And the other municipalities have either done it in November or they'll be doing it this month.
Casey, did you get a chance to read this? Come here and get this copy.
Give him the thick copy.
You'll need to have a copy
He needs another
of this book
comprehensive
because
one.
we've never, I don't know if we've ever kept one or anything, but it'll be on the shelf in City Hall. So if you're ever bored,
Yeah, come on.
or I can email it to you.
I was just telling Andrew, I used to have one of those that was that thick about Habersham Central alone, our emergency plan,
Yeah.
Do you have to read in front of everybody from it?
every time.
But there's a lot of good information. I mean, the bottom line is, you got a hurricane coming. You know, you can only do so much prep. Hurricane comes, you're doing cleanup, you know. Tornado comes, there's no prep time. Or a flood, whatever the case may be. So,
I was in 2 different trainings this summer that made the point that you need to have your emergency plans printed out. because chances are if you've got an emergency, your system's maybe down, you're not gonna be able to get to your computer. Same thing with your cyber, if you're having a cyber attack, you need to have a plan for what happens then, and that needs to be printed out.
I haven't thought about that one. That will be ready to go. And, we'll make sure and send all of y'all these 3 pages once they're signed. And so however you want to keep them at your house.
That would be good, what you suggested. for
Oh,
us
yeah.
to have something like that in place.
Because that's ACG for us, and then Turner Woodsmith Insurance. So that would be my first 2 phone calls.
Next is surplus, a 2008 Ford pickup truck. I think we've talked about this truck several times.
Yes, and this is the fire rescue truck, and that was Brian's truck originally in 2008. It's a gas guzzler. Brian said every 6 hours he was going to the gas station, and so he gladly gave it to the fire department. And right now it does not. It will crank. It's got timing chains and other issues, and Brian let Mike Jones from Mike Jones Ford look at it. The numbers on the bottom part are some sale prices with mileage and sales price, and all these trucks ran and operated to whatever degree, where ours does not run. And so really what we foresee in this, it says the $2,925 would be the value if it ran.
Sure.
But it doesn't. So Brian has had people contact him for parts. They want to just buy the truck as is for parts. And I would ask y'all to use a number much lower than that to give us a range so we can have a bid on it to do and be able to sell it.
And that's how we'll have to do it, put it out for bid.
We can do that.
Options.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But we could just have a sealed bid advertisement.
Okay.
I think it can be done on, government.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Yeah.
qualified.
And we just have to set
A minimum.
bottom.
Yeah,
tier.
bottom number like $1,000.
Okay. Got it. Any questions?
Is that the suggestion that we do? That amount?
Yes. We'll hope for more.
Alright, next is discussion of the probation contract.
Casey, you wanna come back forward?
Casey, will you read this one?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same as it's always been. I think they did up to $5. The rest of it, I believe, is all the same.
It's $5 a month.
Increase
Increase $5 a month.
session.
Okay.
Probation. And this works well? It works well, you're happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes to our court, processes. He even can do our blood test and,
Yeah, he
Yes.
does a drug test for
yes.
new hires and all this.
Okay. Thomas, you're good with this agreement?
I was.
Okay, good.
Just an annual agreement on work.
Thank you, Casey. Got any questions? All right. Y'all wanna go in executive session now or wait till later? Thomas, how long do you think we need?
It's 6:45 right now.
Okay. Y'all wanna go in executive session now or wait till after?
How long logged off? 15 minutes?
Shouldn't take long.
No,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Real estate.
Okay, then I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Real estate.
Litigation.
Or it's personnel.
Personnel.
And I'll second that.
Okay. All All those in favor of going executive session? Thank you. All of them.
If y'all will take your books up, we'll take.
How you doing? Pretty good. Oh, you snuck in, I didn't see you come in.
He told me that today.
Those in favor of coming out of executive session? Aye. Thank you. All right, let's open up our meeting, sir. Let's open up our meeting with a prayer, then we'll do the pledge. Y'all will pray with me. Lord, I'm grateful to be in this wonderful city of Demorest. We ask that you watch over us. We ask that you watch over our community. We ask that you remind us of the reason for the season as we enter into Christmas season. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are in a regular session. Do y'all have any additions or changes to the agenda before we approve it? If none, we'll entertain a motion to approve it as written.
Have a motion.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor to approve the agenda? Very good. First up is appearance and public comment. We do have one at the front of the meeting and at the end of the meeting. So if you would like to speak, please step up to the podium. All right, if none, we'll move on. The first is the proclamation for Demorest Elementary. We already read this proclamation, but I do think that we need a vote for this proclamation, correct?
Actually, if it's a proclamation, that's just something that you do.
Okay, so no need for a vote.
Or you can do it as a resolution.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to Reads Across America. Mr. Barry Church, you want to step up and tell us about Reads Across America? I think we've participated the past few years. You want to tell us a little bit?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for being one of our sponsors. It gives us an opportunity to honor our veterans. You know, there's really nothing, in my opinion, that looks any worse during the Christmas holiday season. Go by a cemetery where we know there's veterans buried, but there's no flowers on their grave. There'll be about 3 million wreaths put on graves all over the country this year. So we'll have a small part of it. Demorest has graciously, I believe, what, third year? Third year, we've done it at their cemetery, we do it at our cemetery, and then several of the churches. So it gives us a way to honor those veterans who are deceased. And the way it does, and this is the theory, that if you place that wreath and you call that person's name, they'll never be forgotten. Because that name will be remembered every year. So it's a great honor to be here to share this with you. On behalf of the city, if you'd like, you can come to the wreath laying. It'll be Saturday the 13th at 10 a.m. Then we'll go to our cemetery at 12 noon. We'll say our cemetery, the VFW cemetery, and do it at 12 noon. You're welcome to be there for that. Our post, Grant Reed Post 7720, is the only post in the United States that has our own cemetery. So if a veteran is a member of our post, them and their spouse has a burial plot when their time comes. So this helps us, the city, helps us put veterans' wreaths on our grave. So we appreciate that very much.
And it's a really great time to come out and honor those who served and lay those wreaths. And I challenge everybody to come that's able to, because it's a great time to be able to do that.
What was that date, Barry?
December the 13th,
10 a.m.
It's always the second Saturday. So 1 year it may 12, 13, 14 years old.
And folks, we'll have about, I want to say 85 to 100 of these to go out and double check our list. And the last 2 years, the fire department has gone out with a little short of barricade flags, and they have placed them on the gravesite so that when you come as a volunteer or your grandchild, your child, you know which grave to go to. And if there's not one on there, you can go back and get another. And but my grandson, excited about doing it again, because it's really a good lesson learned by a 7.5-year-old, so we're looking forward to it again, so thank you very
And
much.
that is what part of it is learning our kids, because, you know, I'll give you an example of that. You know, during the Civil War, y'all did have a Civil War veteran period. During the Civil War, we called them the Yankees. I was showing my grandson, who was about 10 at the time, the Great Locomotive Chase, the movie Great Locomotive Chase. And he kept hearing him talk about the Yankees. Sometime about the end of the movie, he looked at me and he said, "Pop, I didn't know they played baseball back then." The thing is, that gives me an opportunity to teach him something. And that's what this does. It gives us an opportunity to teach our children.
It's really great. And out of respect of that, we've got to check for you guys to help offset some of the cost of those trees.
We greatly appreciate it. Let's make sure we use it, use man.
Awesome.
All right.
Got one more pitch.
Oh, okay.
I could just share with you again.
Do we have speakers or special guests?
We do have a speaker, Sam Kubion will be speaking, and he is the mayor of Gainesville. So we've had Victor Anderson the first year, and we had Bo Hatchett last year. I called the sheriff, but the sheriff's on his anniversary, so he was not available.
But it's a great learning opportunity. There will be a ceremony. It's just not go out and wait.
Because you got the 21 gun salute,
We
you got,
will have honor guard. Yes.
yeah.
We'll have some singers doing some patriotic music. So it's something enjoyable. So anybody would love for you to come out.
Will the bicentennial guys be there too with their cannon?
Not this year. They're rebuilding their camp.
Oh, man.
Yeah. They shot their wife.
But
now
that's
they-
the attention giver.
Sorry.
That thing is
It
definitely.
is, I
attention.
love it. I love it. It's really cool. I asked my fingers about it, and he said, "I would like a little bit." You might not want the attention they give us. That's right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, sir.
I'll get out, let y'all get back.
I'll see you worst case on the 13th.
That'll work. Thank you,
Thank you,
guys. I
sir.
appreciate it.
All right, y'all make sure that's on your calendar. All right, next up is approval of the minutes. We have several on there, March 8th, July 19th, October 21st, the 30th, and November the 7th. Those were emailed out to us.
March 8th was from our retreat.
Correct.
And July 19th. I missed both of the two retreats.
Correct. We entertain a motion after y'all reviewed that. Council, do we have a motion?
Everybody finish looking at it? We're good? I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor to approve the minutes as written? Thank you. All right, next up is a public hearing. This is under your tab 11. All right, so this is consideration of a zoning class to change for a secondary dwelling unit on a property located at 331 Pine Avenue. And you want to step up and explain to us what you're asking for? Sure. Please state your name for everybody.
My name is David Cook.
In case you got your name first, that's all right.
And y'all, while he's coming, I know it may be hard to see from where you're sitting. But this property is sitting
having trouble finding them now.
You need me to come back up there and show you?
Trying to find Georgia Street.
It's Franklin.
Yeah. All right. So Pine Street, there's two tracks on the corner, or right here. This larger track is not David's, but the second one that's a little bit bigger that fronts on Pine and on Cedar is the property. And it's clearly an R1 zoning, and these darker tans is what is R2. So the yellows are R1, and that's what this property is called.
So this is the old Hendricks place. The property has a house on it, and it also has.
I'm sorry, sir, you want to step up and grab?
Oh, sure.
We can't hear you.
Did you get that button? Tap and make sure it's on, David.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is the old Hendricks place. It has, of course, the main house, and then there is a separate ADU that's on the property. It's been there since 1988, I think, and it has a garden apartment in it right now. On the other end of that ADU, there's a two-car garage, and so what we wanted to do was to convert that two-car garage into a two-bedroom, one-bath. So there'd be an additional ADU on that property. So we're not looking to modify the outside of any of the structures. We're not looking to really change anything as far as how the property looks from the outside. We just want permission to be able to modify the inside of the inside of that garage.
Okay. So you're asking for a third rental unit on the property. Right now, our code section says that you can only have two on those properties. You did provide with a floor plan in your packet. There's a little overview. Council, can y'all see that overview of the main house? And then, yeah, y'all see that in there?
What you see on the house garage right now is somebody had alerted us that there was construction going on. And so I went by and they installed two windows and a front door. And it's vinyl siding, but they have not vinyl siding the lower section. So David had to stop during that time. He did make, this is in the historic district, so we did have to do an application for that. And he has exceeded his 45 days for approval of that, and that's been approved because we do not have a committee. So there is no approval other than by default, because we have the district with no committee. So he filled out the paperwork, went through all that, and he's got a letter, he's got the application, everything is here, and floor plan, it just comes down. You also see it.
If I may, the door was already there.
Oh, was it? Okay.
The door was already there. So all we did was just basically where the garage doors were, those were going to be windows.
Okay.
The staff have a recommendation. I think that we've heard from a few residents on this.
Yeah, the very last page, if you go to the last page, we did work with Ms. Owenby, where she is working with us on this on a case by case. You can see, you can read the page there where it's got a check mark of denial and read her comments right there. And that is her reasoning. I guess I'll read it out loud for everyone. There is no real issue with having a second ADU. The property meets the requirements listed in the zoning ordinance, such as adequate parking, minimum square footage, minimum lot size, and adjacent space for the tenant to use as outdoor space. However, the zoning ordinance states that only one ADU per lot is allowed. Since there is already an operational ADU on the property, a second one would not be allowed. The applicant could apply for a variance, but that but the applicant would have to prove a hardship that is not economically based. If the council does not have the issue with the second ADU, you may want to consider amending the zoning ordinance to reflect that more than one is allowed per lot, or you would change that, consider changing that to where it's R2.
Okay. And this is the first one we've had come up, council, during this discussion. How would y'all like to proceed?
This may be the first one that's come up in council, but when you run for city council, one of the things that most people will bring up is, hey, we've got this college in our town. I don't want a bunch of rental houses that's behind my house. I don't want somebody next to me renting out and having cars parked all over the road. Those types of things. That is a real situation for Demorest residents. It's not, they've gone to other schools, these are educated people. They've gone to other schools, they've driven around cars to get around, in their neighborhoods because somebody decided to rent out their garage or their extra room in their house. And it's a real situation for Demorest residents.
Council, don't have anything else?
I think having two of these on that one property is just too much. It's starting to look more like an apartment complex rather than a single family.
How would y'all like to proceed? Would y'all like to proceed with a motion to approve or deny or table? You have three options in front of you.
Make a motion to deny.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second to deny?
I'll second it.
All those in favor to deny the application? All right, Mr. Cook, thank you for coming. All right, next is accepting the DDA resignation. Once again, we read this from Jamie Aldred. We appreciate his time on the DDA, but he has chosen to resign his post, and we need a motion to accept his resignation.
I'll make that motion.
A second? All those in favor? Very good. Next is consideration of the 2026 water rates. I would urge y'all to table this until after our meetings. Do we have a motion to approve, deny, or table?
Make a motion to table this.
Thank you,
until
sir.
we have time to review this and read.
All those in favor to table? Second, thank you, sir. Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor? Next is consideration of first read of the home rule amendments. Thomas.
Yes. So the first one, we talked about these during the work session.
Thomas, do you have the microphone? Anybody see the microphone?
Right over here.
Ron, is the microphone back there by chance? Make sure it works, Casey, please. All right, thank you, sir.
So there's four home rule amendments proposed, home rule amendments to the city's charter. The first one would be an amendment to section 2.29, powers and duties of the mayor. The current provision states the mayor shall annually appoint a council member to oversee each of the city's departments. I'm recommending that be deleted, and in the place thereof, a provision that states the mayor shall annually appoint a council member as mayor pro tem and nominate a council member who is authorized to sign checks. Period. City council may approve or reject the nomination. You probably will need to vote on these separately.
Do
So
we vote tonight or vote next time?
there need to be a specific vote to waive the first reading and vote at the January city council meeting
Okay, very good.
tonight.
Okay. Do we need to make that vote individually after you're done with each one?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we need a motion to, Thomas, do you want to make that motion?
The motion would be to waive first reading of the amendments to section 2.29B of the city charter and for final vote at the January regular council meting.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion as stated?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? I'll second. All those in favor? Very good. Thomas, you're up next.
The next one is to section 6.25 of the charter, which is your contracting provision, which currently says all that's required for a contract is it be in writing and be drawn or approved by the city attorney. I would advise that you add a subsection 3 to that provision that reads, it is made or authorized by city council and such approval is recorded in the minutes of the meeting of city council. So I would recommend a motion to amend the city section 6.25 of the charter to add a subsection 3 requiring city council approval of contracts.
All right, do we have a motion as stated?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Very good.
The third one is an amendment to section 1.14 of the charter, which is entitled Powers Relating to the Sale or Lease of Property. You have a number of subsections. What? You have a number of subsections, all of which except the last one are basically recitation from the state statute regarding municipal disposition of property. But it doesn't have all of them. So my recommendation was to remove all of those, replace it with new subsection A that reads the sale or lease of property by the city shall be as provided in the charter or general state law. The last section, which has to do with the price for which the city can accept the sale of property, would remain. Motion to waive first reading and set that over for approval at the January regular meeting.
We have a motion as stated. Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thomas, 2.2.
2.22 is the section of your charter that is provides for the forms and procedures for adoption of ordinances. Currently, the current provision of the charter requires that, like we're doing tonight with these home rule amendments, that there be 2 readings of each ordinance before they can be adopted. This, the change to section 2.22 would allow for ordinances to be adopted at the initial meeting at which they are introduced. It requires, in order for that to occur, all 5 of the elected officials would have to be present, and all 5 of the elected officials would have to agree that the ordinance could be adopted that night. If any one of them request, it simply becomes a first read and is set over to the next meeting. They don't have to offer an explanation. There's no vote. So it allows you for more routine matters to do it in the first night and not delay things, but allows for the due consideration if it's something that even one member wants to consider. So the recommendation would be to waive first reading of the amendment to section 2.22 of the charter and set it over for final adoption at the January meeting.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion as stated?
Make a motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor? Thank you, guys. Next is consideration of temporary special event license. This is our second reading. Thomas, do you want to read that?
So you already have a provision in your alcoholic beverage ordinance that allows for temporary special event licenses. There's two small changes to the existing provision. One is to allow for these temporary licenses to not exceed 12 days in a year. Those would not have to be 12 consecutive days. Those could be 1 day per month, 2 days every 6 months, or some combination thereof. That's the change to subsection A. The other change to section 6-19 is that the special event permit may be approved by the city manager rather than requiring council approval. The other portion of this ordinance is the addition of a new section 6-19.1 that allows for temporary nonprofit temporary special event licenses. Any organization that is a nonprofit would be able to, the current ordinance says up to a maximum of 6 days per year. There are certain limitations in state law. I think what state law actually says is that it can be done 6 times per year. So the way that read in conjunction with the way this ordinance is read, you could have an event that lasted 2 days, but it was 6 times per year. But in order for nonprofits to get that state permission, there has to be a provision in the local ordinance allowing for these. This addition to your alcoholic beverage ordinance simply creates that mechanism so that any nonprofits, and as I mentioned during the work session, I think Piedmont University will be the one that utilizes this provision the most, but it will allow them to serve and sell alcohol at their special events.
We have to set a number of days on this?
Right now, it's written in here for how many, 12 days? You want to make a change, you make a change.
The motion would be.
Motion would be to approve the amendment to section 6.19 of your alcoholic beverage ordinance and to create section 6-19.1.
All right, council, you can either make a motion to state it or make a suggestion for a change we can discuss.
Make a motion to state.
Sir, do we have a second? All those in favor move forward with this ordinance. Thank you. All right, next is consideration of local emergency operation plan. Casey, you want to give us a synopsis on that?
You ready yet?
This is something that we vote on every year. Council, do y'all have any opinions or comments? Okay. We need a motion to accept the local emergency operation plan and resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor? All right, next up is consideration of surplusing the 2008 Ford pickup truck that is pretty much for parts. We're going to put that out for bid. For our policy, we need to set, to vote on allowing to surplus this 2008 pickup truck with VIN number listed as 3783. And I need in your motion to set a minimum bid amount.
Make that motion to set the minimum bid of $1,000.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second to surplus the 2008 Ford pickup truck, class VIN number 3783, with a minimum bid of $1,000?
Second.
All those in favor? Very good. Next is consideration of the probation contract. This is pretty much the same contract with a small monetary change. Council, do we have a motion to accept this contract for the next year?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Good. All right, next up is manager's report. Mark, what do you have for us?
With the different departments, first one up is fire. We had 76 calls in the month of October. That's 2.45 calls a day. And in the breakout,
of his pie chart there, 47% of the calls is classified as unknown type. So not sure what those were, but then the next group would have been EMS calls, and in the next 16% would have been dispatched and canceled. In the police department, our police department had 404 calls, 12 domestic, 7 physical, 30 incident reports, 11 auto accidents, and Georgia State Patrol did 7 of the accident reports. Officers made 143 traffic stops and issued 65 citations, which is 46%. Officers made 3 arrests. The officers completed 130 hours of training. Turn the page there to 2025 year-end training activities report. They have done, Casey, is this through October or through?
No, that's 30%.
Okay. And they will have completed 576 hours, 8 officers for the department plus other leadership courses not calculated by Georgia Post. You can see at the bottom of the achievements, 6 of his officers received intermediate certification, 3 of the officers received advanced certification, 4 of the 8 officers are field trained officer certified, 8 of the 8 officers are speed detection operator certified, and our department has 3 post-certified instructors, which is Casey, James, and Stephen. So great job with that. For Brian and his guys, 18 emergency locates, 398 regular locates, 360 work orders. For some reason last month, we had a huge amount of leaks, there were 21 of them, which meant we lost a little over 1 million gallons in the month of October. Total usage of gallons is 60 million. 46 million coming from Baldwin, 7 million coming from Tacoma, and 7 million coming from the Miles Road. And you think about it, it wasn't that hot last month, October, to use 60 million, sold 60 million gallons of water. So I'm gonna see that being we're inching up almost yearly now, pushing 60 million gallons. So, and we set 6 new meter sets, and Ryan, Steve had 6 emergency 911 calls. And in the streets, leaf and brush had 360 orders to pick up. Special projects we had, Brian remodeled that with a fabulous job to the park pavilion. They started bush hogging the streets, overhangs, and those water testing sites. They started getting those put up because, maybe that's just blank, who just came back and worked for us? Tim Hall. Tim Hall has come back again. He's retired almost twice, and which is fine. It's a pleasure to have him back. And he is a specialist in installing these sites, so it's really worked out good timing with those. And we have done in the month of October, which was our last month of the fire hydrants. We did 84 fire hydrants in those days. We have taken a break now for the weather, and he will start going back over this again. From our water and sewer, you recall last month, we had about 3 days and about 7 inches of rain. Well, you hear us talk about I&I, which is the water intrusion. We are not operating within our permit because we had so much water come through. We could not keep up with that. And I had forgotten to have Fletcher discuss that. But we are back on our way now in the month of November. But you are going to see a proposal from Fletcher to do the water, the air, smoke, physical eyeball on every manhole. because that's the only way we can find out, because nobody really knows how long this has not been maintained. And it's something we must maintain, because there could be an issue with this and the amount of water that comes through our sewer lines.
Is that an issue we have to report to the state?
Even they have to, I mean, there's all kind of, that would have said, due to abnormal amount of rain of 7 inches in 3 days. So it's something they know about. So, but the water system is operating within permits. And into our financials. Remember, the financials are dated October 31st. On the left side and on the right side is our cash balances as of today, December 2nd. We didn't get those financials until about 3 o'clock today. Because they're having to start from, pull it all the way through. You'll see right now when we have a total dollars of 3.6 million and operating cash of 779,000. And our loss for October 31st was 508,000 total. And our November balance, because of the $37,000 deposit the county made, is 545,000. So Floss is doing well, because remember, we had budgeted at 30,000 a month, and we're hitting 33, 37. We got up to, if you go down to the bottom, you will see our number of liquidity based on unrestricted reserves. We're at 4.13. That's an excellent position. We want to be between 3 and 6 months. So we're doing great there. Our expenses, go to page 4. We had a large deposit of the insurance premiums of round number $235,000, which was $75,000 above our budget. So that was a fantastic increase, but also it's based upon insurance premiums in your city. So that tells you how much everybody's, in any policy, whether it's a homeowner's, commercial, auto, life insurance. So there's where everybody's insurance went up, which means the percentage that we get by law goes up. So in talking with the insurance commissioner's office and so forth, they don't see much of a change coming with this number. So I have it still budgeted at 235 in our 2026 budget there. We did transfer $143,000 from the water. That leaves me $37,000 in the budget before I would go over that annual budget for November and December. Obviously, we're going to go over that number. We're going to be very conscious of that, as we always have been, because again, out of that 143,000 guys, 88,000 is monthly salaries. So that's not all just general fund, that's payroll. So we average 135,000 typically, but that's what we got remaining on that. Total operating revenues for the water department is 691,000, and total operating expenses are 441,000, with a net income for the month of 250, and a year-to-date income of 2.5. So you heard Fletcher discuss our finances and how we're dealing with that. You go to page 6. If you look at the remaining budget under total revenues, it shows 1.2 million for November and December. I divide that number by 2, that's 612,000 for water income, and we average 690. So on the expenses, you divide that number by 2, that says we could go up to 533, and our expenses are roughly 440 a month. So we will be coming hopefully over budget on revenue and under budget on our expenses is the plan of my projections. And with that, I'll yield the rest of my time to Frankie Smith. I started at 7:41 and it's 7:52.
Still a pretty good time.
All right, council, do y'all have any questions about the manager's report or financials? All right, let's open it back up for appearance and public comment. Does anybody here like to speak? I'd like to remind everyone of the Christmas tree lighting. It's on Thursday of this week at 6:30, and it's going to be in the park. We have a new tree, thanks to Public Works and all of their hard work. Hard work.
He physically did not, but it is his idea. If somebody went down there and plugged it in, what do you say, Thanksgiving night? Or,
Wednesday, it was Wednesday.
and the Griswolds and the meter flew off like the Griswolds Christmas vacation. He's gonna be in the pavilion with the rocking chairs in there. That's just gonna be a perfect setting.
It is.
That's the Demorest Elementary School question.
Yeah.
Santa Claus will be.
So we have the choir coming from Demorest, and who else is coming?
Demorest Baptist Church.
You gotta speak up.
Demorest Baptist Church.
Demorest Baptist Church. They won't have some treats and stuff and cookies and hot chocolate made.
So make sure you invite all your neighbors and family. It's a great event. And I'll see all of y'all there.
One other thing I forgot was Rhonda just got out the tax bills for y'all to know today. So we had some last minute calculation issues. They should have gone out last month, but we're still within our time frame. So unfortunately, you'll be getting those in the mail.
Very good. Any other comments? All right, if none, we need a motion to adjourn. Thank you, sir. A second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. See y'all on Thursday.